Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Our show today is A Woman's Prerogative in partnership with E360 TV. Our topic today, I'm really looking forward to exploring this topic, is the human condition, why we yearn for happiness. Hello, I'm a TV presenter and the resident therapist for USA Global TV and Radio. A very warm welcome to our loyal viewers and friends at E360 TV. And hello to all of our friends on our usual social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn and X. I'm Caroline HEWARD and I'm absolutely thrilled and honoured to be representing Dr. Jacqueline as your host for USA Global TV and Radio's flagship show, A Woman's Prerogative. Dr. Jacqueline, I need to share this with you because it's very exciting news. She is the founder, president, chief listening officer, executive producer of USA Global TV and Radio, and she has been awarded the coveted YouTube Silver Creator Award for achieving over 100,000 subscribers. We now on our main33,000 on our channel 1 have over 105,000 subscribers. We have over 33,000. Sorry, let me get this right. We have over 35,000 subscribers on our second YouTube channel. We have 2 LinkedIn channels, we have 6 Facebook channels, we have 2 Instagram channels, we have TikTok, X and Amazon Fire. We are distributed by E360 TV, Zizzle TV, where we are on Roku, Apple and around 50 plus channels. A very warm welcome to everybody that is here, either on the live or the replay. Today, I'm flying solo our wonderful Reverend LYDIA FOUGERES. She's unfortunately got internet challenges where there is no internet. She is living in the country and a tree has fallen down and cut off all internet activity, and so she had to drop me a message in her car where she had to go away from her home to find some coverage to message me to let me know. So let's give Reverend LYDIA our good wishes and hope that she gets her internet access back. She lives in the country, and this is something that's really fascinating and what we're going to be exploring in terms of happiness. So before we begin, I will give you a little bit of background about me. I am known as the Harley Street Stress Expert, and I also am a TV presenter on USA Global TV and Radio. And this is the show that I host once a week, A Woman's Prerogative, every Monday. I also have a Talking Heads episode that I do on my own. I'm one of 5 Talking Heads experts for USA Global TV and Radio, and I do that the last Thursday of the month, and that's always at 4 p.m. British Summer Time, which is 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I help people bust their stress. How do I do that? I break through and identify the root cause of what creates their stress in the first place. So whether it be physical, emotional, mental, or behavioral. If you're complaining about a physical ache and pain, or you might be wandering around saying, I'm not stressed, but then you have a physical symptom or you're complaining about somebody, that is how your stress is manifesting. And I work with you to identify in a very quick and simple process the reason, the root cause that's in your blueprint. And usually it stems back to childhood. Usually it's so far away from where you are that we don't remember it, we don't recognize it because we've suppressed it at the time, and it repeats on a circular basis when in times of stress. And I help you break through that pattern of in the state of awareness, understanding, and insight so that you can then process the unexpressed emotions and feelings. I also do talks, either live or online. We are now a global world online, and I also do in-person events and talks as a guest speaker or a panelist speaker, and I also provide talks to companies in terms of lunch and learn, educational talks, either in person or online. So I will share how you can reach me at the end of the show. So let's get into the topic, the human condition, why we yearn for happiness. Well, this was something that I found really interesting because so many of us ask, what makes you happy? Why is it that you're not happy when you have all of these things? From ancient philosophy to modern science, happiness has been one of humanity's greatest pursuits. Why do we yearn for it to be deeply so that we are happy? A need, a desire, and something else or something else entirely. We will explore the roots of this universal drive and what it truly means to live a fulfilled life. So what does happiness mean? For me personally, happiness has changed over time. Happiness when I was younger and when I was studying at school, happiness was being with my friends. That was a social activity. Happiness was something that it was a shared experience. It was a thrill. It was something that made me feel good. So it was an external thing that made me feel good internally. And to be part of groups and to be part of communities was a huge deal for me. It was something that has moved me throughout my entire lifetime. Being part of a community. When I was 5 years old, I wanted to be part of a church, local church community. And then I was part of their youth club and I was part of their choir. And when I left the church, then the study, the college, the drinks and the camaraderie and the after conversations when I was studying in the bar. And at school, we would always meet and do things. So I've always craved and desired and had that interaction and that social connection. And that's what made me happy. It made me happy because I felt internally fulfilled. Now, many other people might not have that same experience. It might be that they don't need that social connection or interaction. And I've certainly seen a lot of people certainly won't, now we've moved much more online globally and a lot of interaction is done online, that many people are happier online than they are in person. And that's something that I have noticed that I struggled when we first had to go online because I lost the social interaction. I lost the social connection and I lost the physicality of being in a room with people and being in a room where I could wander about and talk to different people. So they say different strokes for different folks. I certainly wasn't comfortable with only socializing online, that some people thrived. So what makes me happy now, as opposed to what made me happy when I was much younger, is an internal feeling of happiness. So one of the things that I've always loved to do is to dance. Right from a very, very young age, I've been a little bit of a dancer. And this is freestyle dancing. It's not any specific type of dancing. This is just dancing because I feel the music, I'm singing to the lyrics, and I'm feeling good. So singing and dancing. It doesn't matter how I sound. It's about how I feel inside. And that's followed me all the way through. I can remember going to small community discos when I was 5, 6 years old, 8 years old, and then going to the school discos and all the other different membership discos. And then when I left school and went to college, I went to local membership clubs that were all dancing evenings. And so for me, dancing was giving me, and still gives me, an internal experience of joy, happiness, and a feel-good feeling inside. So when I was dancing when I was much younger, it was always in groups of people. But what I realized was that I was having an internal experience by being in that dancing state of beingness. And lately, and in the last recent decades, I've taken to the floor again in a different way, not needing alcohol, not needing a big group of friends specifically, but actually dancing to the music, to the vibe, to the frequency, and feeling good on a journey of music and dance and vibration. So I've been going to a lot of shamanic, ecstatic dances where there is no talking, no conversation on phones, no alcohol, bare feet. And I would go there with no real expectations. And by the end of 3 hours, I would feel absolutely ecstatic and amazing. So, and that made me feel really happy. That was an internal state of being. And when we went through a change in our global world and there was a lockdown, I started dancing in my living room, having my headset on, full blast, and dancing to my own tunes and feeling good. And I remember the first lockdown, it was my birthday, and that's when I did some dancing on my birthday and felt amazing. So it's different now in terms of where I was when I was younger and how I am now, not needing the big crowds, not needing that huge social network. Actually, the internal state of beingness, the internal state of happiness is through something that I do personally that makes me feel different. And just one more thing to share with you on that. I was very, very good friends with a Tibetan monk and a lama, and he was my mentor and my best friend. And he passed away in 2020. And I remember having so many long and just amazing conversations with him. And I would share with him that I'd, dance till 5 o'clock in the morning in my bedroom with my headset on. And he would turn around and say, "You found it. You found the secret. It's not about where you go. It's about how you feel inside." So it's changed a lot from needing to be somewhere, needing to be at every event, but actually being comfortable to be happy in my own skin wherever I am. So that brings me on to my next question. Do you think we're born with an innate drive to seek happiness, or is it learned? When we're born goo and gaga. We're born as a baby, and everyone is the same. We are a pure state of beingness, of joy. We don't know what it is to be anything but that little bundle of joy. Life hits us. All we need is to be fed, watered, and changed and loved. And so We seek because we are emotional, sensory beings. And there is nobody that's been born any differently. We are genetically made to interact from an emotional and a sensory space. And so babies, they will usually giggle and laugh and be joyful unless they need feeding, changing, or there's something not right. Maybe they're too cold or too hot, but there'll be something that won't be quite right, or maybe they're unwell. So we are born innately joyful and sensory. We're born innately happy. It's life that happens to us, around us, that we then start to interact with our surroundings. And then we start to avoid certain circumstances or situations if they don't bring us happiness. And so we do seek happiness after we've been around for a little while, because that's our innate. So that's our pursuit of happiness. So can the pursuit of happiness actually make us less happy? Well, just before we go to our commercial break, I want to share this with you. So yes, some people, especially ones that have been given the recipe. I was certainly given a recipe when I was at school. You have to do good in school, get good grades, pass all your exams, and then you choose a career that you're going to have for life, and you're going to do good in that career, and you're going to earn lots of money, and you're going to buy a house, and then you are going to get married and have 2.4 children and a dog and a cat, and then you will be happy. And just saying that, I took a breath, because I did all of that. And I realized that I wasn't happy. I was always striving for the next award, the next challenge, the next something. That next something will give me that internal feeling of happiness. So I ticked all the boxes. I did everything that I was asked to do. But I was told, if you do all of these things, if you follow the recipe, you're going to be happy. You will get happiness. What I didn't realize is that when I got there and I worked and strived hard, it didn't give me an internal state of happiness. It made me feel unhappy that I hadn't achieved what I was told I would achieve. And now it's time to go over to a short commercial break, and we will explore more of what brings us happiness. Is it an internal natural state? So we will be back. Please come back and join us, whether you're on the live or the replay, where we will share more of the human condition, why we yearn for happiness. See you after the break.
In a world craving connection, one platform dared to dream bigger. USA Global TV and Radio, a beacon for global voices, authentic storytelling, and elevated listening. Led by visionary Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, the journey from a spark to a global force is now captured in one inspiring book. Honored with YouTube's Silver Creator Award for surpassing 100,000 subscribers. Discover the evolution, the challenges, the triumphs, and the unstoppable spirit that created a global movement. Executive producer Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang. Creative director Paul Garcia. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Now an Amazon #1 new release in paperback and ebook. Broadcasting Brilliance, the evolution of USA Global TV and Radio, is inspiring readers around the world. Join the movement that's redefining global media one story at a time.
Hello and welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio in partnership with E360 TV. Welcome back to A Woman's Prerogative, part 2 after the break. Our topic today is the human condition, why we yearn for happiness. We have been exploring this in terms of looking at my personal take on what makes me happy, how it's changed, and also with a recipe. Does a recipe of looking for happiness, does it work? And the recipe that I was given. So let's continue with our topic. Are we biologically wired to pursue happiness? Well, as I shared with you just before the break, yes, we are seeking happiness because it's the story, the narrative that we are given. Now, dopamine is a neurotransmitter which is in the brain, and it is wired to give us pleasure and euphoria. And so many of us have a fix or need or want, desire that dopamine fix. Serotonin is also known as the happy chemical. It is the mood regulator, and it's also the brain's reward system. So serotonin is something that we can strive for. Now, I can share with you something that I learned a couple of decades ago, which I was in awe of because it was something that I did all of the time. And that is a hug. When you hug someone, it releases serotonin, it releases a fix, and it releases the happy oxytocin. It's the chemical that is naturally in the body, and it releases a chemical called oxytocin, which is a natural hormone. And so when somebody hugs you, you will feel different. It will release this happy chemical, happy hormone, which makes you feel good. So if you're ever feeling down, give yourself a hug, or give someone else a hug, and you will feel the benefit of giving someone else a hug. Sometimes when people are feeling down or unhappy, we say, do you need a hug? Or we say something like sending you a hug, sending you a big hug. And it's because it helps us feel different. It releases the happy chemicals within the body. And it is the brain's reward system. And so there's many things that are now socially accepted in terms of our changed world. And when we get, say on social media, for instance, if we get a like or a love or a reaction on something like Facebook or LinkedIn, it releases and it hits the dopamine. And this is one of the reasons why we feel the need to keep going back. So we might write something, post something, and then our regulation of wanting to get that fix is to see how many likes, how many loves, how many reactions, how many comments. And it almost is regulating how we feel about ourselves or not feel about ourselves. And so there is modern day dopamine hits. And if the comments are negative, then it has the opposite effect. If there are no likes or reactions, this can also have a negative effect. So we are using today's social media to gain an internal state and feeling of happiness, which isn't always how it works. So how do cultural, societal values and influences what we believe make us happy? Well, just looking at how we use social media to make us happy is something that sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't. And you can be forgiven for thinking that everybody's having a great time. Have you ever had a difficult day or a challenging time in your own personal life, and then you look on Facebook or LinkedIn or one of the social media platforms, and it looks like everybody's having a party, everybody's in big happy smiley face photographs, and it looks like they're having a really great time. And this is how societal influences how we should be feeling versus how we are feeling. At Christmas time in the UK, it is a time that families come together, and it is a time that friendships come together, and we celebrate Christmas. In America, there is Thanksgiving, where it's a time of families and friends getting together. And what about if you're not part of all of that? If you don't celebrate Christmas, or if your family aren't around, or there is a disconnect with family, there is conflict in the family. What about that in terms of how that doesn't fit with societal norms, and how you can almost feel ostracized for not fitting in and not being happy and celebrating with your friends and family when that's not the case for you? And so this is how cultural and societal values can affect how we feel internally from our own internal state of happiness. So some of it's not good because we have an expectation that we should feel something, and we see on TV dramas, on films, all that celebratory experiences of everything comes together and everybody's really happy and families are really happy. That isn't always the case for some. And so society starts to paint the picture that we should be feeling an internal state of happiness when perhaps we might not be. And as I'm a stress expert, I know many people that call me, and that's one of my busiest times, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, also New Year. In between Christmas and New Year is a time where lots of friends and family are together, where people that are stressed or estranged from their family and friends find it very difficult as a time for them to be feeling happy and expecting to culturally and from a societal point of view be happy when we're alone. And so when people are alone, it doesn't feel happy. So society dictates that success, wealth, and love defines our happiness. Does it? Because I've just explored with you before the break how I ticked all the boxes with the success in terms of exams, success in work, the success within my career, and yet it didn't equate to happiness. I was always looking for the next goal, the next thing, because I thought, well, if I'm not happy from this, then if I just do something bigger, something better. And so societal norms are showing us and telling us that we should be happy by exploring wealth. Now, there is a saying, money can't buy you happiness. There are many celebrities and musicians and people that have really done well for themselves and done extraordinary things in their life in terms of their business, their lifestyle, their fame and their fortune, and yet they're not happy. So why is this? Why is it that they have everything that money can buy and yet they're not happy? The Beatles once said, money can't buy you love. And that's very true. You can have all the money in the world, but it doesn't buy you happiness and it doesn't buy you love. Is there a difference between being happy and living a meaningful life? And this would have been a very good question for Reverend Lydia, because as a Reverend, she is honestly dedicating her life for the sacrificing her life for the sake of others. And she does that with an incredible amount of zeal. Being a reverend is about being on call and being there for somebody in their times of trouble. And for me, being a stress expert, it's the same thing, that people call me in their times of stress, their times of challenge. And there's something I want to share with you, which happened today, that somebody from India dropped me a message on Facebook and said hi. And I'm thinking, all over my Facebook profile, it says what I do. Reach out if you need my help. I offer a free initial consultation. And so I said, how can I help you? And he came back with, I like your profile. I want to just chat. And so I spent about 10 minutes there, and we got backwards and forwards in conversation where he really just wanted to chat. And he was saying, so you're a stress expert, so you help people with stress. I didn't really have the time to have that particular conversation 1 hour before my show. So that didn't make me happy. And yet, if that person had reached out to me and said that he was feeling depressed or anxious, I would have spent 15 solid minutes helping that person go from stress, anxiety, depression to a feeling of inner peace. That would have made me happy. And I say that genuinely, that in helping others, it fulfills me. There is an inner peace and an inner happiness. My mum has always said to me, when I have clients, when I've had a client day, I'm always upbeat and really happy because I feel that I've made a difference and changed somebody's inner world so that they feel inner peace and happiness. That for me is living a more meaningful life. When my brother passed away, when I was in 2018, the day before his birthday, it was a very, very difficult time for the whole family to lose a young sibling, the youngest of the family. And yet what I did was I looked for meaning. I looked for doing something that would help others. And so I joined a peace organization. And within 4 months, they awarded me as an ambassador for peace for the work that I do. Why am I sharing this with you? Because I felt an inner state of peace and happiness by doing something for others, by being there and serving for others. And this is where, when we're living a more meaningful life, the inner state of happiness comes from a very different place. It doesn't come from being out there, it comes from being in there and living a more fulfilling internal life that makes you feel more fulfilled and happy. The myth of constant happiness. Is happiness meant to be a constant state? Well, if you were happy all the time, you wouldn't know when you were not happy to celebrate the times of happiness. My beautiful friend, who was the monk, he would say to me frequently that monks are in constant challenge. And that constant challenge is for growth and for transcendence, and to move them through the different challenges so that they are more in their next life. I used to think that monks had it made, that they were inner happy and inner peaceful. But that's not what I witnessed, and that's not what I experienced with my friend. And sometimes he would share with me that there were challenges that he was experiencing. So the monks are human, just like us. We are here to have a human experience, a sensory human experience. So if we were happy all of the time, we wouldn't be able to celebrate those times when we are down and look for the fulfillment of the pleasure of when we go from feeling not happy to feeling happy. And I went from feeling lost and feeling that I needed to do more and be more after losing my baby brother, and then finding a new challenge to be more for others. And in that service to others, I found a place of inner fulfillment and inner happiness. And so through the existential challenge of losing a very dear loved one, it was the day before his 50th birthday, it moved me into a state of seeking more pleasure, more happiness by serving others. So my answer to the fact that, is it looking for a more meaningful life? Yes, I would say that happiness comes from being in a more meaningful situation and more meaningful goals within your lifetime. Viktor Frankl, his idea of meaning in suffering. Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. The role of suffering and struggle, we could truly appreciate happiness without the pain? I don't think so. We can't experience that true inner state of happiness if we didn't experience the level of pain. And I personally have experienced existential states of challenge, losing my father, losing my baby brother, a challenge of a marriage breakup and a divorce, and times of challenge in terms of changing careers, profession, and ideology, in terms of the way that I showed up, and even going from being face-to-face in events to going online. The existential threat of change has moved me up and up and up into a bigger state of inner happiness. So post-traumatic growth and finding joy after adversity is something that I can wholeheartedly agree on, and it does change things for the better. Individual and collective happiness, personal joy versus community well-being. Is happiness contagious or is it relational? If somebody is laughing, there is a video that I was shown during a training, and I've shared it many, many times, of a monk, a Buddha, and he got on a train and everybody was very glum and very miserable. And he started giggling and then started laughing. And then he broke out into uncontrollable laughter. It's called the laughing Buddha on a train. And he was in so much laughter that other people, not even knowing why the laughter was happening, started to laugh. Have you ever watched a video or seen a young baby laughing, or a young child? It's infectious. You start laughing and you have no idea why. It's the laughter that's infectious and you want to laugh. And this is how it is not only personal, but it can be joyful in terms of being part of a community. It is contagious for sure. And if you haven't seen the Laughing Buddha, watch out on YouTube for the laughing. It's the Laughing Bonnie Vista, I think it's called. It's an amazing video. It's about 12 minutes long. And I promise you, if you are feeling down, you won't feel down by the end of that video, because it is contagious. Some practices I'd like to share with you in terms of finding inner happiness. To be mindful of where you are and who you're being. Mindfulness practices move you from a state of inner stress, challenge, to a place of gratitude and a place of inner peace and happiness. Gratitude is a practice I use all of the time. Whenever I'm in a situation of even sending any written communication, I will always sign off in deepest gratitude, even to my accountant. And I'm sure he thinks I'm completely off my rocker. But he, all the people that I send it to, I know feel some sense of joy when they read that, because it sounds better and different from kind regards. I sometimes, if I feel that might not reach the place that it should do, I might say kindest regards or kindest wishes. So I've still got a slit on that being kind. Being in the present moment, when you are aware of your present moment, the moment that you're in is the only moment that is the sensory moment of peace and inner happiness. When you are in the future, you are in a state of looking for something that's not there at that moment. When you are looking at the past, you are looking and being and thinking about a moment that has passed that you're not in. To be gratefully and internally happy is to live in this moment, in this second, in this time, in this space. And this is where you can find an inner happiness. Children running around, they're not thinking about the next moment or the future. They're running around in a supermarket, maybe playing tig or chasing around and laughing. There's no fear. There is only inner happiness. And so this is what I would suggest and recommend and invite you to do, to find a place of inner happiness. I have so many more things that I want to share with you. And at the same time, even though there's just been me, there's been a lot, and it's a big topic, a big subject. The purpose of life is not to be happy, it is to be useful, to be honourable. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Those who have a why can bear almost any how. Viktor Frankl. I felt that was worth saying again, because Viktor Frankl, it is about the how, if you have your why. We are not made for happiness, but for striving toward happiness. Immanuel Kant. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Mahatma Gandhi. Our yearning for happiness is a fundamental part of what makes us be human. And yet, perhaps happiness is not a destination, but a byproduct of living meaningfully, connecting deeply, and growing through life's challenges. May we all learn not just to chase happiness, but to create a space in ourselves and in each other to be in a place of happiness. Thank you very much. We have explored the human condition, why we yearn for happiness. Please download USA Global and TV and Radio's app and be part of the global family, bringing hope, education, inspiration through storytelling, which is available on Amazon Fire, Roku, Android, Apple TV, TikTok, X, and much, much more. You have been listening to Caroline HEWARD. I'm known as the Harley Street Stress Expert, and I'm also being your host for today's show. This is usually a panelist show, and we usually have our full-time panelist, Reverend LYDIA FOUGERES, and our wishes and our thoughts are with the Reverend as we speak right now, this evening and this afternoon, where she is in Canada. You can reach me on nomore@live.co.uk, or call me if you're international +44. If you're local, 7523 120 189. You can reach me on any of my social media platforms. My preferred media platforms are LinkedIn and Facebook. Do reach out to me if I may be of service to you. Rather than try and chat me up, do reach out and let me know how I can help you, what your challenge is, and I will help you bust your stress. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring this episode of A Woman's Prerogative in partnership with E360 TV. And I look forward to seeing you next week. That's the same time, which is Monday, British Summer Time, 7 p.m, which is 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And I look forward to seeing you at the same time next week. Have a wonderful week, everybody. And we're now over to our sponsors. And just before we do that, a very big thank you to Heather, who has been doing all the whizzy effects behind the scenes as our producer for tonight's show. Bye-bye for now, and have a beautiful week filled with happiness.
From the magical world of the amazing adventures of Lady Ella comes a heartwarming new journey filled with kindness, courage, and compassion. Lady Ella, the beloved ladybug and listening mentor, is back, and this time she is not alone. Meet her brave and thoughtful brother, Lord Jack. Together, they take flight on their very first kindness adventure. Along the way, they meet 3 new friends in need: a duck feeling discouraged, a mouse struggling to be understood, and a busy little bee somebody who's completely lost. But with the power of elevated listening and simple acts of kindness, Lady Ella and Lord Jack show us how understanding and empathy can make the biggest difference in someone's day. Written by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, the listening mentor, this 9th book in the best-selling Lady Ella series teaches children ages 5 to 10 the essential skills of listening, kindness, and etiquette. Now available for pre-order on Amazon. Scan the QR code and order your copy today.
USA Global TV and Radio, home of the YouTube Silver Creator Award, proudly presents Just the Thing for Your Ring, introducing the patented Ring Thing, your premium personal ring holder to keep your ring safe, nearby, and avoid loss.
The Ring Thing just got smarter. Add your logo and an NFC tag that opens to your website with one tap. Waterproof, inner padding, and now a forever business card.
Just the thing for your ring. Scan the QR code seen here to learn more about Ring Thing or place your order. Follow Ring Thing on Instagram at ring_thing_ or go to our website ringthing.com.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA-Global-TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.